right, welcome everyone to round five, I believe it is here in Division 2. We are in Portugal and we are getting ready for some short qualifying here. Definitely an interesting track here at Portugal, lots of elevation changes. Right now it says the weather is dry, but we do not know as we are loading into the session here. Anyways, here we go. 15 turns. We have 4.653 kilometers of a track distance, and we have two DRS zones, both leading into decent overtaking opportunities into turn 1 and into turn 8. I believe it is. And as we wait for short qualifying to commence, I am here joined in the booth by none other than Magnuson Cube. And how are you feeling today, Magnuson?
Pretty good. It's a bit of an unknown, this track. It's one of the two bonus circuits we have on the calendar. The other one being the Chinese Grand Prix, which, fun fact, has never raced before. And now that is a heavy downpour as we head into qualifying at a circuit where not a lot of people have driven before. Not a lot of running has taken place here in other leagues. This, I believe, is one of the first leagues to take a qualifying session around the Portugal circuit. As he said, 15 corners, 4.6 kilometers of track, 2 DRS zones, the overtaking opportunities into turn 1, Primera, and turn 5, Torre VIP. There is a long flat-out section out of turn 14, named after Sagres, I think a local beer company or a town in the area, which, as a fun fact, I believe that's the most southernmost spot of all of Europe. But there is a long straight here, but the corner after this long straight is a very, very fast right-hander. So overtaking is going to be tougher than predicted. And there is something funny about the tires here. Usually, a track like this would have a C3, C2, C1. Here at Portugal, we have C3, C2, C0. Anyone who watched the D1 race or competed in it last night will know that that hard tire is absolutely not usable in the race. You will just fall back like a stone. You can ask Nicolas Pichet on how that went in D1. And we have a first car out of the pits. It is Tunnel at a rain-soaked Portugal. Doesn't rain that often in this part of the world, but here we are. Nathan Owen, what do you think of the circuit?
Well, I personally love this circuit. I love how every single corner just needs that little bit of precision just to get the most time out of the lap. But I have to say I don't like it in the wet at all. It's very slippery, this track, and that corner that Tinel just went through, man, it's going to be a difficult one. And especially into this deep braking zone, into turn 5, not turn 8 as I said before. Turn 5, we could see some big action here if it turns out to be a wet race as well. But like you said, very fast right-hander of a turn 1 here. Very difficult to make an overtake here around the outside. Unless you're me. I'm just kidding. But yeah, very difficult. Down the inside is possible, but you have to rely on the other driver a lot to make that overtake safely, and that goes for pretty much all of these corners here. But we are in the wet, so we are looking through all these elevation changes. We're about to go through a downhill with TNL. Hopefully you're taking that much faster speed during the qualifying lap, which I'll let you take us through here.
Alright, we're about to start a lap here at the Autódromo Internacional do Algarve. 4.6 kilometers of track built in just over 8 months from in the year 2008. Held preseason testing in 2009 as Snell begins his lap through the flat-out final corner of Galp. Massive drop, and then it is the near kilometer-long start-finish straight, and it's another rise into Primera. A huge drop here. The braking point is in the dry, is roughly where the track flattens at the bottom of the hill. Down to 5th gear, actually 6th in this case, and then it's a kink of turn 2 into Lagos, the heavy braking right-hander. Do not try and overtake here. Mark Marcus can tell you anything about it. Up the hill into turn 4. This is the toughest corner on the entire track. Up, off camber, uphill, left. It is very, very easy to spin. Turn 5 to VIP, the best passing spot, in my opinion, and it's a straight uphill exit over this crest as we now head into another very difficult corner. Samsung at the top of the hill. in a gradient. This corner, the rear of the car gets very light, and then you're looking at the sky as you see as you drop massively down the bottom of the hill. Craig Jones, the dead British motorcycle racer, died in 2008 and then this leads into Portugal, a very medium speed right-hander. A bit of a slide there from Tnell, as now he heads into the final three corners. The hairpin of turn 13, and then Sagres, a little bit of a faster end to the lap here. And getting the traction right here is so crucial. And now, not exceeding track limits. It's going to be a big occurrence. And then the last corner, Galp, and a huge slide into that downhill part of it. And then it's now put flat to the line for a lap of Portimao.
Well, I was about to say that he's done a good job of keeping it tidy on that lap, but just a couple of slides, and that's how the conditions can get you. See who else is trying to do a lap here. I believe one of the McLarens might be in. Nope. Just a plenty of people starting the laps as it normally goes when I try and commentate qualifying. Jeff won. 2 seconds, just about 1.5 off of Tino, and that's more like it. So, well. Oh, new story. Ranger is now driving for Red Bull in Division 2, and, well, so far, as we can see, that is a good sign for Red Bull. Replacing Big Mama Frank in the Red Bull, and I think it's a good swap for the Red Bull team, as he goes off track. But anyways, lots of slides through these uphill and downhill corners. There's a Williams going up there, and I feel like we can expect some spins. That's not like it's not taking down any of the quality of our drivers, but it's just very difficult to keep the car just in a straight line in these conditions and these corners. So Labib 12 has left the session, and he's reserving for my team, so I'm not too happy about that. But the times are coming in.
And one thing to note, combined YouTuber, a little bit of a disappointment of a banker. He is incredibly good around here. He should be a lot higher than that, as I said. And sorry to cut you off. Stelios Trepas is at the top, a 1:26.973. The times are going to be tumbling as the rain here at Portimao is only going to make conditions more and more difficult for the drivers. And combined YouTuber, 4/10 up as he heads into the final portion of the circuit. This is where laps can be made or lost here. Well, the entire circuit is pretty much a spin zone, but here it is. Around the final corner, it's going to be up to the start-finish line in a little bit through Galp, and it's a slight lift in these wet conditions, a corner that requires incredible confidence and some heavy precision, and combined as P6 with a 1:27.6.
Let's talk about the tire strategy here in qualifying. Right now, we're seeing a double run here from the Red Bull of John Ranger. But what would you do? Would you fuel up for multiple runs, or would you just go for one lap, come back in, get a new set on, and keep going?
Multiple runs around here. It is one of those circuits where a lack of confidence can cost you dearly. Lots of hills, lots of elevation, and most importantly, qualifying is important around here. You just cannot get a good qualifying at this race if you won't be getting much luck if you start out of the top 10 around here or something to that effect. So I'd say multiple runs, maybe 2 or 3 laps in qualifying, and burn off and recharge the battery as fast as possible in the wet. Because it's a little easier to charge in these. Combined YouTuber coming in for a bit of Tokyo drifting at turn 13-14. And he is safely off now, but he is holding a Ranger a little bit. And let's see, Simon Colston, a 1:26.429. That is over half a second quicker, so I think the rain is lightening. The track is improving bit by bit here at Portimao, and we might be getting some dry running around here. But whoever can get this done right is going to be a master at throttle control as Snoop Francis in the Ferrari off at turn 13. That's 2 people through, and that's going to be it for him.
Yeah, I think, oh, Celios Repas just threw it fastest by another good 5/10. So, I think we might have a real battle for the front spot here today, because we have Celios Repas, then we have Simon Colston and John Ranger, and I feel like John Ranger might even have the edge over Simon Colston here, because in the final corner he had a big moment, big slide, and that cost him about a 10th, I would say. So they could be very close, and now NVA has invited himself into this party, so we could have a heck of a qualifying session here tonight.
These conditions will separate the men from the boys, as they say, here at Portugal. The men from the boys will be separated on a track this hilly, with this many corners, that you're either breaking into a blind apex or blind XYZ. You are just, none of the corners are straightforward around here. You've either got blind corner 1, blind turn 4 and uphill, blind turn 8, which is horrible on traction, the whole Craig Joseph Portimao section of the circuit, and then the last 2 corners are just a collection of even more blind corners. One thing to note, the rain has significantly subsided with 7 minutes ago. May we see a soft tire at the end of this qualifying session, perhaps?
I feel like we may, wait, hold on, English. We may, wait. I think we will. I think we will is what I'm going to try to say. And I think it could be either a very, very good decision, or it could end up like it happened to, I think it was George Russell in qualifying in last year's Canadian Grand Prix. Just didn't work out for him in the intermediate qualifying, and he ended up spinning, I think crashing, so could end up either way. But right now I'm on board with Avir in the Red Bull, who's put it up to 5th place right behind his teammate. And the rain is still very much here, but like you said, I do think it is gonna go away, and we'll see if we do have dry running.
Yeah, all depends on some of those slower corners. That turn 8 will be real vicious in these wet conditions. And so is about 1/3 of the circuit. This place is just hill after hill after hill after hill. It is spot a breaking point, and hope to God you have not gone off into the weeds around here. As Grid Jokes is purple in the first sector. So turn number 5, huge lockup on the way in, gets that car rotated, a bit of a slide out. And it is going to be 4th, 5th, 6th, and then a bit of a break for turn 7, and then it's down to 3rd for the brutal turn 8. He gets out of it, but very patient on the throttle, as one would expect around this corner, and then it is up, down again into Portimao. Traction here is going to be difficult. Huge drop on the way out. That's another purple in the middle sector. The track is rapidly getting faster and faster. Over 2 seconds of improvement here for Grid Jokes. This will come down to the wire.
Yes, and Grid Joke's a very fast driver, pretty close to the front normally, but we'll see where this lap puts him as the track evolves very substantially here. We got Celios Repas on an out lap, and we'll see how much the time actually does change. But to the line now, Grid Jokes goes fastest by 8/10. We are definitely seeing a track that can improve to probably dry conditions here. So our qualifying is very far from over here, and it will be an exciting one.
Very far from over indeed. Qualifying here at Portimao could take another turn. Let's stay on board with combined YouTuber at this circuit. Let's monitor him into turn 1. No, a bit not taking much risk. He knows what he has to do. Second, up at a 3rd, and then it is going to be preparing the drive out here. This will decide your whole first sector. No invalidation. The turn forward is going to be straight on the gas, and that is a 6-ton lap time improvement in the first sector. Now in the turn 5, it is going to be up from 3rd gear, and then it's going to be another flat out blast onto another relatively short straight into turns 7 and 8. This section of the track very difficult to put the power down, and it is a lot of finger precision on that controller for combined YouTuber. After Craig Jones, and then Portimao down the hill. And then there's going to be a huge drop down. 1.6 up in the middle sector for combined. This could be the lap that could put him very high up here in qualifying for the Portuguese Grand Prix. It is going to be 2 corners to go for the AlphaTauri reserve driver. And now he has one more corner, and it is flat. Is it flat for him? Yes. No, it isn't actually. That's a very tiny lift to the final corner. And it is up to the line, out of Curva Gulp, and it is P2 by exactly 69 milliseconds. A bit of an out of context number.
I'm really glad that you have that number, but unfortunately it's not on the stream. But 69 milliseconds, I'll take your word for it. I will take it. Oh, as John Ranger just goes 3rd fastest. Right now, I mean, with all these laps coming in, I can only look towards Celios Replas, who is our previous P1 sitter. He's going through the final, big corner, I guess you could say, after or before the very fast right. And we'll see what the Alpine can do from fastest in the previous kind of stage of qualifying. Here we go. To the line, it looks
the
like
final corner.
Amazing here.
Flat to the up to the line. That's pole by nearly 6/10.
Well, there's your answer.
Yeah, he was flat to the last corner. That just makes such a difference around here with how much more speed you can carry through a lot of the circuit. If you carry 1, 2, 3, 4 miles an hour more, you can gain a lot of lap time. Here at Portimao, combined YouTuber, I think his qualifying is going to end here and now. He's going to be at risk. Grid Jokes could well be the man who puts it in a shock position here at Portimao, and overtaking is pretty difficult, as I've touched upon.
I think Simon Carlson might be onto something, as he's set a purple sector 2 at least on the track he has. So we'll see what he can do through the final sector. As you said, flat out through the final big right-hander, that could be very crucial. So we'll see if Simon knows that here.
Let's see. The throttle response is indicating he is flat through the last corner. It's up to the line now. He was 8 times up before. He goes into P2.
And
then Mac. Wow. That's incredible for him.
Very incredible indeed. We have a Teo in the Mercedes. It looks like it's actually a bit of a struggle lap. Maybe just starting up a new one here. Then his teammate is right behind him. But who else do we have? There's a Williams of Spinini, who doesn't seem to be on a significant lap right now. After that, it's NVA, who's 9/10 up in the second sector. But from a 26.5, I don't know where that will put him exactly here. Does he go flat through the final corner? Does he know? Yes, he does, and he is going. So I think we're comfortably in a position, I mean, obviously, that we can go flat out through here now.
Just the track is
here we go.
A bit better now for flat out running. And let's watch Grid Jokes. The man himself. The exits. Could this be the lap that decides it? 2 times up in the first sector. The track is slowly but surely getting a lot quicker now. It's out of turn 5 into 6, 7, and 8. The difficult right of turn 8 traction test. One of the biggest traction tests on the calendar. It is going to be flat through 9, and then it's going to be very patient braking through 10 and 11, and then down the hill. Grid Jokes could be on for something here. He is 4.5 tenths up on the. He's 4.5 tenths up on his personal best. That would put him on the front row for this Portuguese Grand Prix. Let's see. He's got one more corner, and this one will decide all of his speed down the massive start-finish straight. Flat out through turn 15. It is up to the line now. Let's see where he'll be. This could be the lap, and he is P2. As Mac is out of fuel and needing to desperately come back in. And Hokage Roldi is not on a lap. Labib is slipping and sliding around the circuit. That's more fun. And probably the only man needed here as Ranger has invalidated. He is improving, but not enough. And he will start 11th on the grid. Roldi will actually start 12th. And Hokage Roldi, the last person across the line, he will start 15th on the grid here at the Portuguese Grand Prix.
Alright. Well, I mean, Stelios ended up going to improve his lap, and I just have to wonder, like, is he just good in the wet, or is this genuine pace? Because last time out, it was wet qualifying, and he dominated the race for the most part until the very final lap. So I just have to wonder, where is this pace coming from? But I'm all here for it. So if it's a dry race, we'll see if it's the same thing as last week. But what do you think? Do you think this is genuine pace, or is he just a wet master here?
Genuine pace, I think he was pretty good in Brazil, and that was a fully dry weekend, aside from the sprint. Same in Singapore, where he won on track, but ended up losing the win on penalties to Blicky/Blake, not racing today. And I'm not sure about Jeddah, but at least in Saudi Arabia, he was very, very quick. I mean, Singapore, sorry. But Stelios, Repas, Gurjux, and Mac are your top three for the 33 laps at the Algarve International Circuit. We're going to have up ahead of us very soon. 4.6 kilometers, and is another wet race, and it's a wet race. Now, this will be interesting. Spinning Simulator will be the name of the game here. Throttle control will decide winners and losers.
Yes, hold on. I need to move Labib back into where he belongs. There we go. Okay. As you say, it's a wet race, and I have to say this looks a lot more wet than qualifying is. I'm seeing some full wet tires in the garages here. So this could be even more of a test. It is more of a test than what qualifying was, because now they got to do it for 33 laps, presumably, assuming these conditions stay the same. But man, it is soaking here. So,
Fully
go ahead.
Full wet at Portimao. It is not the first time we've had terrible weather in a Grand Prix held in Portugal. Think back to the 1985 Formula One race won by Ayrton Senna. Think back to the MotoGP races in the early 2000s. And it is not uncommon to see rain, but it is uncommon to see rain here at Portimao. We're down in the deep south of Portugal, lots of hills, lots of beaches, and a popular tourist destination known for sun. Well, today there is absolutely no sun in sight at the Algarve International Circuit. And yeah, Nathan, who do you think will win?
I think it might just have to be Stelios Repas. It's an easy pick, but it is what it is.
The boring pick, I think, same thing here. Stelios, if he can keep it out of a wall, he will win. 33 laps ahead. Nathan, take us through it.
And the lights are going to go out now, and it looks like it's been a decent start for Stelios Repas. Does Gurjokes get alongside him? He's trying to, but the wet tires aren't really taking him as far as he needs to be. Will he stick a nose through down the inside? He will, but he won't get it. Stelios Repas takes the lead, and in the back we'll see if we have any action here. We have lots of cars going wide into turn one. Red Bull's making contact with the McLaren, and now 3 wide into this turn here, and they make contact here. So plenty of 3 wide action still, and it's a miracle that we've still got cars straight on the track. More contact between the McLaren of Rigraf and NVA, but we are still all straight racing here. We have action with Labib here, going around the outside of Mateo into turn 5. But it looks like he might even be dove down the inside by this Red Bull. He goes off the track, and we still have more action in the back as there's a bit of cars going off the track. And we go back to the front now to see what's cooking up here. And it looks like we still have Labib getting challenged by Ranger, but it is back, and now we have an AlphaTauri of combined YouTuber who's around and having a lot of pace here. That's a bit disappointing, and not what you want to see, and almost making contact with his teammate here.
That is a disappointing start for combined YouTuber. Especially around a circuit he goes so well around. The top 2 are unchanged, but Stelios Repas has checked out into the lead of this Portuguese Grand Prix. He is miles out in front, and it has been a disaster of a start for AlphaTauri as team principal today. It's been a bit of a disaster. I just hope we get safety cars or combined just raw pace catches up to those back markers and saves the day. 1.2 seconds to Gurjokes This is Sebastian Vettel 2011 or 2013 dominance out here at Portugal. This is unheard of. Gapping away, so I think Stelios may just be on a wet setup to prepare for the rain. As we see the gaps.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt here. We got a crazy battle between the Red Bull of Avira and Mercedes of Matteo, and now the other Red Bull of John Ranger looks like he's going to get in on it. So now the two Red Bulls swapping positions, but do they go around the outside of Matteo here? It looks like John Ranger will try it. Doesn't have the traction in the end, but now the other Red Bull of Avira has been dived by NVA, having made up 4 positions already. He's going down now, 3 positions have gained, and he's continuing to lose positions. It's Red Bull of Avira, and now NVA has found a way through Avira in the little battle that we thought would be between the two Red Bulls and the Mercedes and Matteo. But we continue on. First time penalty of the race goes to Snoop Francis, and that is, I think that's just a normal 3-second. Yes, it is.
It is full wet tires here at Portugal, and overheating these full wets will be a disaster. If you overheat the full wets around this circuit, you can say bye-bye to the rear tires. Bye-bye to rear grip, because this track is a destroyer. Combined YouTuber has caught up to the back of that train now, led by Snoop Francis, who has a time penalty of 3 seconds.
Veers into the pits.
That's interesting. Is that going to be onto intermediates, I wonder?
It is. It is onto intermediates.
It is, yes. It's onto inters. That's a big check. That's a bold one. Is he already trying to get onto that green striped tire? And same with Jeff 1. He is also going to be into the pits.
I don't know how to feel about that. There's a lot of standing water still on track that I can see from my little broadcasting camera. But if he thinks it's time, then by all means, let's see if it's time for intermediate tires here in Portugal.
It's time, yep. I think it's time, as combined YouTuber absolutely gets past Osmari into turn 5. I think it is time for intermediates at this point. Well, yeah, we will see the gap, and yeah, no, not at all. It's 2 tenths already. We'll see how that gap goes in the next couple of corners, and
that's a lot of time being gained. Yeah, it's time for intermediates here in Portugal.
It might be. It might be time. It might be time for the intermediates, because Jeff Vera actually is losing a lot of time, though. He's lost about 3 tenths on this lap. It might be time for that intermediate tire. You never know. And it's not yet to be up to temperature, that tire. Snoop Francis and Hikage Roldi are side by side into the final corners. And now it's going to be a straight blast as John Ranger dives into the pits. So do the McLarens. Combined YouTuber stays out another lap.
I really think it's time. Go ahead.
And Grid Jokes has assumed the lead of this race. I don't know what's happened to Stelios, but he has made a mistake somewhere. And that means Grid Jokes could be on for his first ZRL on-track win. He won on penalties in Qatar. Can he win today at Portimao in slightly worse conditions? And on a completely different track. Combined YouTuber is just behind Snoop Francis. He's going to launch it into turn 5. He's going to stay tucked in for now. Snoop Francis goes very wide at the left-hander. And combined to second place.
That went very wide, I have to say. I mean, very wide was said, but like, he was almost out into the gravel there. But anyways, I'm taking very close attention with these interval gaps between the intermediate runners and the wet runners. And it looks like John Ranger is really gaining towards the car in front of him, as Spanini is around. He's around in a corner I don't really see how he could be around, but it has happened, and now Spanini has lost multiple positions after, I believe, gaining plenty. So let's look at the tires here, because I feel like people might come to pit, and yes, Stelios Rebus into the pits.
Stelios isn't.
And who else? Simon Carlson into
the
pits.
Tanel
stays out.
No.
See who else we have.
Let's see a lot of people starting to dive up to get off the inters. Combined YouTuber pits as well. This could provide an interesting opportunity. Combined gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane.
Okay. Let's look at these drivers who put onto the intermediates first. We'll see if they gained anything from it, and by the looks of it, I don't know if they really have. John Ranger
They
makes
haven't
up
gained
one
much.
position. I think everyone here will gain a position on the AlphaTauri, but other than that, it doesn't look like they've really gained anything.
Not sure if Labib is going to gain something out of it. Sorry to break it, but Labib is not going to gain anything.
Oh,
He's
I
going to
think
lose the
he has
spot.
it. No, there you go.
Oh, yeah, he has it now in the turn 3. And Snoop Francis with another penalty.
Mine YouTuber, the only other driver with a penalty, 5 seconds. So let's look at these tires here. So our top 9 are all on wet tires, and we have a actually battle here. Never mind. It's just it tried dusting both of the Red Bulls. So there we go with that. But anyways, top 9 on the wet tires. When will they come into pit? Because it's definitely time for intermediate tires now. They're only losing time. So I would have to say the sooner, the better. But where does that put them on track? And Mateo,
Good jokes, Pits.
Mateo's off the track completely. It looks like he went over the hill and just completely cut the penultimate corner. At least that's what it looked like when I hopped on board. And into the pits goes Mateo, and a 5-second time penalty for NVA in the Aston Martin. That's rough. But anyways, as these drivers come out of the pits, where will they come back onto track? We have Snoop Francis and Celius Repos, the main front two, who will be trying to get past these front two cars, and it doesn't look like they'll get past the first Mercedes. Good jokes.
Watch out for Good Jokes. He's going to be just out in the lead. Snoop Francis goes off to the Atlantic Ocean, and back in Grid Jokes holds on to the lead of the race. And Snoop Francis again goes way off at turn 3. I think he's just giving the place back because... And Snell is out on the full wets. That's interesting.
Very interesting. And Simon Colston is going to try size up a move here on the Ferrari of Mac. And does he go around the outside? Yes, he does, but can he keep it? Can he keep it on track? And now he has a Ferrari on his right as well as his left. Now he's in an uncomfortable sandwich.
He is the meat in a Ferrari sandwich.
Wait, okay. We're going. Wait! Simon Colston has almost gone fully around, has the Alpine to save him from going fully around, but
Snoop Francis is so slow, he's getting gobbled up by the field.
Yeah, now gonna try go around the outside of the Alfa Romeo of Osmari and has done it completely well, and now John Ranger's gonna follow him through down the inside and off the track again on the wet tires. It's just not easy to keep it on track with these wet tires at this point, and now we are seeing that with TNL overtaking Snoop Francis, and now it looks like Itchry will follow through around the outside of the penultimate corner, and he's done just that.
Avira's gone down the outside too. Superior traction. Oh, and he's gone round. Both have gone round, actually. And Osmari has caused more chaos in this Portuguese Grand Prix. Mateo takes both of them. I think the same will happen. Avira gets overtaken. Combined YouTuber has a chance. And we see those on the full wets are absolutely being gobbled by the field right now. As we start lap 7. Combined. Fastest lap of the race. And it is 4 wide in the Primera. This is not going to work. There's 3, I think, abreast. And they've sorted themselves in a line, thankfully.
Yeah, if we went 4 wide into the first corner, I mean, I don't know what I would have done. There's no way any of them would make it through alive. But anyways, yeah, these wet tire runners are really causing havoc here. Snoop Francis getting in the way of everyone, and now Osmari having taken out, I believe, Avira. It's just not really going well here. His combined YouTuber is trying to overtake Labib here. And right now it doesn't look like he'll be able to do it. Both have penalties, but can he get a nice little run into, I believe this is turn 8? Doesn't look like he will. And we continue in a straight line, but you can see how much that McLaren is sliding in front of the AlphaTauri here.
Heavy sliding, lots of sliding, and even more sliding here. If we do go back to slicks, remember, combined YouTuber and NVA will serve their 5-second time penalties. Keep in mind.
Yeah, Spanini is really getting held up by Veer here. I mean, very close to making overtakes, but not really committing fully enough. And I was watching Gran Turismo earlier today, and the main point was, if you're going to make a move, you got to commit, and Spanini really needs to do that here. Pretty much kissing the gearbox. Go ahead.
Into the pit lane for a marathon on the full wet.
And there goes combined YouTuber past Labib, and there goes Spanini past Avira. Both of those moves look like they've been done quite cleanly, but we got a little bit of action in front of us here. The Red Bull of John Ranger really sliding around here, just stuck behind the Alpine of T-Nell, who I'm surprised has kept this pace with the wet tires here. I mean, I really don't expect him to be still in this position, but he's held well.
He's holding well, but look at the gap he's caused. So many people are in a huge gap right now just because of it. And it's going to be side by side, I think, almost side by side for Simon and John Ranger as they head out of turn 11. And they're still in that train. As I've said before, overtaking here at Portugal is easier said than done. And it is easier said than done. Especially with conditions this bad.
Now has a moment, and now John Ranger is going to try and capitalize on that. He's got the inside line, and another moment for T-Nell as those wet tires might be overheating, and Simon Carlson gets past, and now will NVA get past the Alpine as he sees the Alpine stuck right behind the Alfa Romeo. It almost looks like he's going to try go for a move here. Doesn't have the straight line speed, but still on the battery and backs out of it finally before the corner.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult for the wet runners to catch up with this little rain. It's in a turn 3. Lagos, he doesn't do the Mark Marquez and take out 5 people. And I have to say, we're getting some brilliant racing in these slippery conditions as Spanini is past Labib, both of them off the circuit almost, and combined is now up. Combined now has a gap in P11. Can he use this gap to catch up to Matteo? I think he might just have the chance to do it. And a big slide there out of turn 5 for the Australian.
Yes, so we have one wet runner here, who's still keeping good pace, but just can't really hold up any of the other drivers because I think his tires are just starting to be pushed over the edge a little bit. He's 9/10 slower than his fastest lap, and Rigraff is only gaining, so we'll see how. Ooh, as Vera gets a time penalty, and Tino goes completely off the track, so makes it a bit easier for Rigraff here. Anyways, let's look towards the front because we haven't brought up the fact that Celios Repos is not leading. We'd expect him to.
He's lost.
Richos has got it.
He lost the lead very early on, and now has got rid of those full wets.
Say that's about time. Anyways, an exciting battle I think we can look forward to is the one between Simon Carlson and John Ranger. Similar battery and similar pace too. No penalties between the two of them as we have a Red Bull around, and that's a Vera in. That's a very weird spot. I must assume that he took too much of the sausage curb into turn 2. And now in 14th, the Red Bull has broken away from literally everyone in front of him.
Yep, that's down to 14th for Rivera. Disappointing race. That was just even slightly. That just became a bit more disappointing. Licking your wounds, I'd assume.
So one would say, let's try and find someone to hop on board with. I mean, yeah, I think it's weird that Celios Repos doesn't really have the pace right now to catch up and get past grid jokes. Definitely the faster driver, one lap older tires, but I don't think that should be too much of an issue for someone who's been dominating the season. But anyways, we continue.
Combined YouTuber and Spanini here are having a good old fight. Spanini is going to have a straight to catch up with a very fast last corner to do so, and it's going to be full power up the hill into turn 1, and then it's going to be down in a 1, and then no overtaking just yet.
Yeah, great defensive deployment of the battery from combined YouTuber to really keep that position in turn 1, but now he's had a moment in turn 4, so now will that put the Williams of Spanini onto the back of him? Could it cause a dive bomb?
Nope.
Nope. I'm glad it didn't, honestly, because I would have gone crazy. And it's a big moment from Spanini, so that's going to separate this battle even more. I believe more than 1 second. And yep, there it goes.
And it's a good old fight, but we're not getting much of them around here. Not a lot of opportunities to overtake and people don't want to push flat out in the wet too.
Lots of drivers getting very close to the one in front of them, but just can't seem to make the overtake happen. Whether that's because of dirty air or just lack of confidence to get these corners right. I'm not really sure which one it is.
Difficult to overtake sums up Portugal. Yesterday in D1 it was very difficult, and that was in the dry. Can't imagine how much tougher it'd be in the wet.
I mean, let's look here. Let's look for some talking points, because it's just a bit difficult to look at right now. It does look like the sky's getting a bit brighter, and I can see kind of like the dry line effect on there. I know it's not an actual thing in this game, but you know, the supposed dry line is coming, and the times are going down. T-Nell with the fastest lap of a 1:27.599, so we'll see if those times go down any further, and by how much. I mean, at this rate, do you think that we'll have any dry running here?
We might get it at the very end, but I'm not sure. I think it'll be another stop onto winters.
I mean, you can even take the inters into the dry conditions if you're careful enough with them, so I'd say that's about right. John Ranger really needs to close up to Itchry in front of him, or else Simon Carlson is going to be able to pretty much take him on this next straight if he keeps his gap. But as I say that, looks like John Ranger actually hasn't closed up that gap, so Simon Carlson is still very much on the back of the Red Bull. So trying to keep the throttle nice and easy and good through the final corner, or the penultimate corner, and we'll see if he can make a move as he has a big slide through the final right-hander. So now we look to NVA. Does that put on a move for the Aston Martin? Doesn't look like he has a straight line performance here. So we continue in this order as Mateo gets past Rigraff way before the braking zone, I must say. And Simon Carlson now gets a time penalty. I wonder what that must be from. And now NVA, as he sees the Alfa Romeo in front of him have a little bit of a moment. Does that put him on to make an overtake here? You can see the gearbox, but now goes off the track, so looks like the order will once again stay the same. Ooh, as he almost flies into the back. Yeah, there you go.
Almost into the back of Simon, and both of them have time penalties, remember, but it will not affect their position. They're over 5 seconds ahead of the next car, which is Mateo on P8. But, no, wait, hold up. NVA has 8 seconds of penalties, and Snoop Francis has the most, 9 seconds, I think all from off-track excursions, as you can see him running well wide at turn 3. And it is Osmari in the back, not doing much. He's trying to find his way in the conditions.
And Stelios Repus has dropped back from Grid Jokes in P1 right now. So once again, we look towards this little pack from P4 to P7. And it looks like NVA might be able to have a run here. It's very close, but gets off the battery, and Simon is still dumping his, so just trying to defend for his life is Simon Carlson right now. Maybe NVA knows that he doesn't really need to make an overtake because he's got a lot of penalties toward him, but I think at this stage it's a bit too early to tell. Big lockup the rears for Simon Carlson, and now NVA, it might be a similar story as he has a big moment from turn 4, but so does Simon Carlson, but still not close enough to make an overtake.
Difficult to overtake, we've said that many times, and this is a bit of a boring race. We just need someone to put it in a wall and cause a safety car.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any walls like that are actually close enough or like to hit where it would cause a safety car, because I feel like it's mostly due to the car being on track and destroyed. I feel like that's what causes safety cars the most, but I have no idea where that could happen here.
True. Snow gets past Hokage Roldy into, I think that's turn 8. He's got the job done.
Stelios Repus has closed back the gap to P1, still under a second, but no DRS benefit right now since it's raining just a little bit. Has definitely gotten lighter since the start of the race though.
Definitely.
Yeah, like you said, pretty much a boring race here. Very close cars, but just not able to capitalize on the mistakes of the other car, or just not having the pace to be there in the first place. I feel like that's what's hurting the racecraft the most right now, or just the race in general.
Not a lot of overtaking. You can't get overtakes if people can't push hard enough. And there's nothing to help set overtakes, so yeah, more of a calm, boring race, just consistency around here.
I must say, it is fun to watch these drivers slide around in their cars in all these corners. Still very tricky conditions to navigate, so at least we don't have like 20 safety cars, because I feel like that could definitely happen, but I think we're better off just having none than too many.
The rain has subsided. We may see the medium tires make an appearance, or even the softs around here. This could bring it back into an interesting one, as this could make this an interesting race. Well, who will get the changeover from wets to slicks? And we start lap 16, where almost halfway through this Portuguese Grand Prix that has taken an absolute age to get through. And the rain, even on Gridjoke's on the off-board POVs, is non-existent. It's very, very light. And on the onboards, it is very light as well. So we may see a switch to slick tires other than expected, as Spanini is ahead of combined. Good pace for the Williams driver. Both of them sliding everywhere.
I'm still seeing quite a bit of rain on the onboard and offboard of Gridjokes and pretty much everyone else, as Tino sends it down the inside of Labib here. Does Labib try to go for a switchback? No, but what a great move that was from the Alpine. Late braking and lots of confidence there, but still, like I said, does appear to be a pretty good amount of rain, like the type of rain that you'd expect to go away in, say, about 5 minutes. The sun is coming out just a little bit more, and you can kind of see that the track is drying up a little bit more. So we'll just see if the camera is playing tricks on me or not.
Raining that much, interestingly. Gridjokes has led most of this Portuguese Grand Prix here.
Right now, it looks like he could continue to do so for so long here, given the fact that Stelios Repas just can't get past, or isn't even really getting close to passing right now.
He's closed the gap significantly.
And then it opens up a little bit for a few laps, and then it comes back, and that's kind of just how the story of this race has gone so far.
Pretty much.
Still no action between P4 and P7, although it looks like every lap in dry conditions we would definitely be having some.
It's just the gap's getting bigger, the track is still wet, and people do not have the confidence to push. The dry line is starting to form up a little bit by bit, and the conditions are definitely lightening. We will, I think, see the softs make an appearance at the back end of this race if it gets dry enough. We're not at that stage yet.
Yeah, I'm looking into it, and right now it just seems like every time someone gets close to another driver, they make a mistake, and then they're a bit further away and not able to make it. I wonder if that's just a story for everything.
Just a cycle. Gain time, lose time.
Like John Ranger might finally get an overtake. Sorry to cut you off, but we might actually finally have some action into turn one. He's going to try around the outside, but I would back out of this and try to go for a switchback, and they almost make contact, but John Ranger backs out of it just in time. And we'll continue with this fight. Going a bit deep as they try, and now around the outside is John Ranger, he's going to stick it around the outside, and he's done amazingly there to get past the Haas driver. And he will be well ahead into turn 5, and he's kept the position, not really being shown by the camera, but there you go.
He's stuck it around the outside of the most difficult corner on the track. I know who needs to be put on a GOAT list candidate for that overtake alone.
I wholeheartedly agree with that one.
But yeah, the gap from Grid Jokes to Stelios has dropped significantly now, and it is some interesting weather out here in Portugal. The track is drying, and there is a monumental gap from Mac to Ranger. So these conditions, I think, are just getting the most out of the drive, are getting the most out of some and the worst out of some people.
It does look like the rain is finally just starting to fade away in the way that you described it to me a couple laps ago. But I'm a little bit looking forward to the battle that we might have for P1 now, because Stelios Repos has definitely stepped it up a bit, so we will see.
The rain has stopped. At least on my POV, it is very, very light rain. There's Mari at the back. He is about to get lapped in just 19 laps, actually a bit less. That's not a great performance. A bit sad.
Well, I mean, had to be said, didn't it? But
yeah,
maybe a little bit unlucky. I believe there was contact and just bad strategy as well. That kind of led to the downfall of that race, but being lapped is being lapped. But right now, the question is, who will it be first to lap Osmari? Will it be Stelios Repos or Grid Jokes? Right now, Stelios is really closing it up here. They're pretty much equal on batteries, a little bit of advantage to Grid Jokes. You can see how they both deploy here. I think Grid Jokes will just go on it a little bit defensively. Yep, there you go. But Stelios is really taking this seriously. He's still on the batteries. He's going to go for the overtake into this corner. I mean, it would be amazing if he did, but nope. Just a bit too far back.
And update on the weather. No rain anymore. It stopped raining.
Can confirm from my side as well.
We are going to get a stint on the soft compound tires. It's going to be softs. And this could shape up the race dramatically now, as Grid Jokes runs a little deep out of turn 5. And Osmari lets them both through. The Blind YouTuber is overtaken by T-Nell into turn 1.
Doesn't look like we'll have an answer back, but this will mean that finally NVA and Combined YouTuber can serve the 5-second time penalties in the pits. That's gonna shake it up quite a bit, actually.
Yep. It is a track where most people have not prepared for a have not prepared a wet setup and have not practiced much for, so this will be an interesting changeover onto the slicks on a perilous circuit. Jeff and Snoop Francis, they don't go side by side. A little bit cautious from Jeff there. And now we might have a chance here. Grid Jokes is 2 attempts ahead of Stelios Repos. Into the first corner. Stelios is going to be miles ahead. Or is he? They're going to be side by side, and Stelios takes back the lead of the Portuguese Grand Prix, but not for long. Grid Jokes is going to have a chance here. He's going to go. Stelios has blocked that inside line for turn 3. It's going to be up the hill into 4. And Stelios Repos takes the lead of the Portuguese Grand Prix once again.
And it looks like Grid Jokes is just having enough pace to really put pressure on the Alpine now, so I wonder, is that a truly significant thing here, or will we still have a battle? And will it fade into the the pitting onto the soft tires? Who will shoot first for the soft tires? And question is, how has Mac gotten so close? 1.7 seconds now. I mean, if these two in front continue to battle like they have in the past, I mean, Mac could surely be in it as well.
He has fuel problems. He's actually down on fuel. Same thing goes for Stelios. He doesn't have much fuel either, so grid jokes here. This could be an interesting one in terms of the fuel.
I find it hard to believe that they have fuel problems in an intermediate race, but I wonder how much they fueled up for. Maybe they just didn't put in enough, as Hokage Rody gets a time penalty, and our top two still staying out. But does Grid Jokes go for a move here on the Alpine Stelios Repas? It looks like he's going to go for the inside of turn 1. And will he have it off the battery? And it looks like Stelios is going to keep it around the outside, and he has kept the lead for now. But will we see another attack going into turn 4, not into turn 3? That's way too dangerous. But here, can he get a run through turn 4, not and get it into turn 5, like I was trying to say earlier? But it doesn't look like he has. The run has not been made through turn 4, and no overtake will be made into turn 5.
Osmari's onto the medium tires. Well, he'd probably be the one that ends up causing something in this Portuguese Grand Prix. And he is now going to be a whole minute plus behind the field.
Does look a bit slippery for him.
Yeah, and it's still wet. Not anywhere close to slicks.
Yeah, we're not there yet.
No.
And certainly
we're
not.
We're going to be there when the DRS. We're going to be there when the DRS is enabled. And Snell now has a penalty.
I don't think they'll really affect him right now, except for his progress towards the front. But let's look back at these tires here. Osmari, I mean, I don't know why he wouldn't go on to the soft tires. He has multiple sets of them, but it is what it is, I guess. But having to take a lift through there, it's definitely not in slick conditions here. So we have a caution.
Yellow flag as Jeff has spun around at turn 4.
I feel like that's actually the first person who's spun around in turn 4 this entire race.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, battle at the front has kind of calmed down here, but I mean, at this point, do you think they'll even bother pitting onto the soft tires, or do you think they'll just run these?
Whenever the DRS is enabled, that's when they'll pit. And it's not enabled yet. Hold up. Simon Coulson and his try, they're fighting. Simon, massive oversteer. He doesn't get the position.
Still oversteering, but he like slammed on the battery on the exit of that corner and just completely had a bunch of wheel spin. But this, finally we're seeing some action from this pack, and I'm glad you caught it.
We have action.
Pitters here though.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. Osmari, how much is he struggling on that medium tire? He's still absolutely everywhere. The rear of the Alfa Romeo is incredibly unstable as he lets the Aston Martin of NVA through. And he goes way off in a T8, so I think it's still way too early to fit on the medium tire.
Simon is still trying to make things work with Itchrai here, but I don't think he's in a position where he could really overtake. But he is pretty close here, so the run through turn 4 we'll decide if he can make a move here or not. And that looks like a pretty good run through turn 4 to me, so onto the battery. It doesn't look like it'll actually be enough in the end. Itchrai maybe used a bit of battery in a defensive way just to get through into turn 5 ahead.
Yeah, it's going to be, I think, the whole race on intermediate tires that are going to be stretching out 27 laps on, remember, if not more.
Still sliding here, so yeah, like you said, I mean, once the DRS comes on, not only will we have a lot more overtaking, but we'll have pretty much, that's our cue to go on to the dry tires. But I have to wonder if that goes on for so long, like say it finally comes on maybe lap 28, I don't think it'll be that late, but if it is, then do you even bother pitting, or do you stay on the intermediates and try and push on?
You pit. Always pit. You'll just lose time.
straightforward answer. There we go.
Snoop Francis is the next person about to get lapped here. And Osmari in the Alpha is absolutely struggling to get those medium tires fired up. No grip on that medium tire.
Spanini makes it past Rigraff into turn 1 around the outside. It looked to be a great move from the Williams, even though I didn't quite see it.
Yeah, Rigraff, a bit of rear locking into turn 3 actually. And he has lost a bit of time. I think that's Mari. I don't know what he's doing, but fair play to him for holding up. The track is getting faster. Stelios, on 20 lap old intermediates, has just set the fastest second sector. It might be time to switch on to slicks very, very soon.
We will have to see. Doesn't look like he'll go to the pits here. But I think
Not
a good
yet.
way to know is if the McLaren's coming to the pits, that's when you pit. Because they always nail it. No bias.
And Snell gets Rigraff is overtaken by T now into turn 1. Side by side almost. Stelios and Grid Jokes. Grid is going to have an amazing run into turn 3. Will he dive up the inside? No, he will not. He's probably going to try looking for that outside line. Better traction up this hill. It's off camber left. Setting the move. It's going to be the chance for Grid Jokes. It is the chance he has been dreaming of for multiple laps. Is he going to put it? Grid Jokes is going to try getting that switchback done right for a run up the hill into Samsung corner. And it is going to be side by side almost into turn 8. That's going to be a scary place to make an overtake, especially with a gradient present at that very corner. It's a brutal gradient, and we might have a three-way fight for the win here in Portugal. Mack in the Ferrari on similarly aged tires to Grid Jokes. He is the sectors. He's also gone purple, so I think it might just be about time Avira, the next person to pit onto soft compound tires. Let's see how well he fares in this pit lane.
Grid Jokes will surely make an overtake for the lead, given that they don't go into the pits. But it looks like Stelios Repos is into the pits. He's the only one of the top 3 to go into the pits as Max sets the fastest lap. So we will see if this is the right call. Maybe a bit too early, we do not know. This is the first time we're seeing pretty much any soft tire running other than Avira, who just came in before this. So we have a yellow flag. Who is that for? Was that?
I think that was for Avira.
That was for Avira. That could not. That could be a bad sign for who was our race leader, Stelios Repos.
Everyone's coming in.
We'll have to see.
Everyone's coming in. I think it might just be time for slicks, or will it be time for slicks? And let's see Stelios on the soft. He's losing a little bit of time to turn 3, so I think the softs do need to be up to temperature to properly be fired up and ready to go. As Labib gets Labib now has a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. 92% past Rigraff. No, he's not. DRS has been enabled. It is time for soft tires here in this Portuguese Grand Prix. Stelios Repos, however, has not gained much time, if any time, to Grid Jokes. It's going to be time for intermediate. It's going to be time for slicks. And there's some beautiful action up the hill now, as superior tire temperature will decide battles. It's going to be side by side in a turn 7, and no way it's going to work. They're going to be side by side in a Samsung. It's going to be straight up the outside. Try's going to have the run. No, he's not. Tire temperature size battles. The top 2 in the pit lane with 6 laps to go. Grid Jokes onto soft. Mack onto soft. They're both out of the pit lane. It's going to be interesting to note who is out first. Grid or Matt. It's going to be Grid Jokes or Stelios. That first corner awaits them. Massive downhill. They're out of the pits. Grid Jokes is going to have the run. Grid Jokes will have the run, I think. And
right
he is
there.
Does it right there, yeah.
Tries down the inside. Will not have it there, but he will have the DRS for this next straight here. goes a bit deep, so that compromises his run a little bit, but will he go for it here? I don't think he will. It wouldn't be smart to do so. Mac is still in the background here, and the Ferrari dropped back a little bit, but if these two fight, Mac is still in it. So we continue on as going into first gear and going now wide into turn 5. That really compromises the Alpine of Stelios Repas here.
The track is still not there yet. If you're looking at temperature, the Portugal circuit is still yet to be fully up to temp. Grip is not there.
Not quite.
As Osmari gets the fastest lap
Wow.
on the mediums, and Avira gets it now.
Yeah. I was about to say, after ripping on Osmari so long, it's finally something to be proud of. But
Yeah,
now,
a bit of a difficult race, but he's done it. He's got something. Fastest lap for 3 seconds. Grid Jokes absolutely burning the battery as he heads in out of the last corner. Stelios Repas is going to get the run. 1:23.612, the fastest lap of the race. And then they're going to be close-ish in a turn 1. The gap is still 8.5 tenths of a second. But it is game on here in Portimao.
and Mac is just barely hanging on to this battle. He's out of the DRS for this straight, so he has to rely on the two in front of him to start battling. We have plenty of fastest laps coming in, penalties still all around, so we continue on with this top two. It looks like Stelios Repas has the fastest sector 1, and now he's following through Grid Jokes, and Tino sets the fastest lap of 1:21, so these times are going down really quickly. Stelios Repas going pretty deep into turn 8, so bit questionable from him, and that could really hurt his fight here, and it only helps out Mac in the end to get closer to the Alpine.
It is now going to be time. Grid Jokes has the chance here to break DRS and destroy Stelios Repas.
And he has. Does he
Yeah,
keep
he's
it?
broken it. Does he get to put DRS?
He will.
He has put Stelios out of DRS. That's
And
huge.
And Mac is in DRS of Stelios now, so this could be a huge moment for Grid Jokes here as he sets the fastest lap. And he's just barely on the barrier of the DRS here, but Stelios Repas, this final corner, he needs this DRS, and he hasn't got it. And Mac is only
Yeah, he's
getting
got it.
closer.
He's
Mac
not
is
got it. He's nowhere near it. Grid Jokes has assumed the lead through the overcut and is running away with this race. Can he pull it off? Or will he not be able to? That's the
Gap is
question
still
mark right
growing.
now. The gap is 1.3. This might be on for Grid Jokes here.
And one lap
This
to a
might be
time
it.
for Grid Jokes too, and for Mac.
We might get a situation where Stelios hits the cliff at the end of the race. That will be a disaster for Stelios. That will be a bit of a disaster.
It will be a disaster in the interview room as well.
Yeah. It's currently not great.
Mac is just doing everything he can to stay in the DRS, and I think he did it by 1 millisecond. And yes, he has.
He is
so.
going to get it.
And Stelios Repas has under 10% battery. He has 6% battery, so I can only see this getting worse for the Alpine driver.
Simon Colston has left the section. That's a disconnect, I think, from the Alfa Romeo team principal.
Yes, he has, and Michirai will definitely power through here. There he goes.
Yep. We're right through for P5.
Literally right through.
3 laps to go. Grid Jokes is on for the lead in a dominant encounter.
And Mac may well be on for a P2 finish here. This is yellow flag. That's a Red Bull.
Avira.
Yes, just maybe a little bit of moment. I think the lead is pretty much there, so we need to shift our eyes to P2 here.
combined YouTuber is past Rigraph. Let's see, Grid Jokes and no, Mac and Stelios. It's gonna be the chance. Grid Jokes fastest lap of the day, 1:19.1, and it's not gonna be a chance for Mac into turn one. He has to save a little bit of fuel, remember, but it isn't that difficult saving around here compared to some other circuits. Lots of braking. He can lift and coast in a lot of places and not lose significant lap time.
The way he was catching him on the first straight, I mean, I feel like next lap, if he can keep the gap that he's at right now, turn on the battery, he's got it past the Alpine driver.
There is a 33% battery difference between Stelios and Mac. This will be down on the last lap. Grid Jokes has checked out in front. So this will be ruling it that he probably lost the win due to a mistake. And Akage Roldi has a penalty. And combined YouTuber also has a penalty.
One more position for Rigraph then, so let's look at this gap here. This could be one of the final overtaking opportunities for the Ferrari of Mac. So,
6/10.
lots of speed there. Battery difference about 40%, but he's onto it now. I think Mac
It's going to be the chance for Mac. Going to be a big chance. Overtake ERS as we start the final lap here in Portugal. Grid Jokes has 4.65 kilometers of track left to run before he can claim his first ZRL. I mean, his second win in ZRL. Will he do it?
And who will it be behind him? The final overtaking opportunity that I can see in this lap. It's going to be a big send from the Ferrari, and it's actually around the outside here. Switches back.
It's going to turn to the inside.
Here he goes onto the battery. It's going to be a great move from the Ferrari driver, and he's done it. Mac is into P2, and Celius Repas down from the lead of the race into P3. But can he keep it? There's a bunch of corners where he can make mistakes, can Mac? But through here, can it go to the Ferrari driver for P2? We will see.
We now have Grid Jokes coming around the last corners of the Algarve International Circuit to cap off what has been one of his finest drives in ZRL. He's got one more corner, and he's going to be right through there, flat to the line, and it is Grid Jokes, your winner in Portugal. Perhaps Grid Jokes. Mac is P2, Stelios is P3, and we've got a long way behind for P4, who will be John Ranger in his full-time return to ZRL. He is just 15 seconds off the podium, as I think Jeff actually has spun around to cap off a bit of a sad ending. Tries P5. Simon Colston, after the disconnect, will be P7. Mateo's down in P6. Mateo's P6. Good day for Mercedes. All two divisions. Tunel across the line for... Yeah. Tunel is going to be... Panini is actually out of fuel. Tunel is out of fuel. Combined YouTube with a bit of a disappointing drive, taken out in the first lap, and then that caps off a bit of a disaster for him. He's going to finish in P11, Redgraph 12th, Labib in 13th, Hokage Roldi will be P14, actually bumped up to 13th, so not a good day for McLaren either. We have Avira about to cross the line as our last driver on the lead lap, and Osmari will end this Portuguese Grand Prix in last.
18. Wow.
Every driver finished this Portuguese Grand Prix, and this has been a bit of a long one. Longer than usual around Portimao.
Fourth place.
Been a bit of a long one.
Fourth place and the driver of the day for John Ranger on his
solid drive.
That's great.
And Grid Jokes is your winner. It's his first on-track win in ZRL. And I'll bring out your final classification. Grid Jokes wins in Portugal from Mac. Stelios Repas losing pole to finish P3. John Ranger from 12th to 4th. That's been a very solid drive. Try making up places. Mateo making up places. Simon Colson losing a few due to the disconnect. NVA in P8. Spanini P9. A bit of a disaster. Same with Snell. Combined YouTuber loses a spot, finishes 11th. Rigraph, a bit of a disappointing race for him, down in 12th. Akage Roldi in 13th. Labib fell off 6 places there. Not a great one for him either. Avira, 15th. Snoop Francis, 16th. Jeff won 17th. And Asmari, 18th and last. And Jeff is your final point scorer from this Portuguese Grand Prix. And now we'll have our top 3 onto the podium before we cap off ZRL for the year 2023. It is happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and a Happy New Year before we see you back in Monaco for the famous 39 laps of the Monte Carlo streets on January 8th. Until then, see the podium celebrations and goodbye.
Mac. Yeah. Okay.
Get them on the podium.
Yeah, we'll have Stelios first. I did not expect to be saying that, but Stelios will be the first one into the booth as he finished third. And Grid Jokes is the last one. Waiting room. But I don't know whether to say what a race or what not a race, because it was quite boring for most of it, but we do have Grid Jokes back to the top setup of the podium, and we have Mac in P2. So that's a good race.
Let's get him in. Let's get him in.
Yeah, who cares about the order? Here we go. Our winner here in... Oh, yeah, here he is. Our winner in Portugal is Grid Jokes, and welcome to the interview booth. How are you feeling, man?
I'm feeling good. Because, I don't know, it just feels good to win.
That's great. I mean...
How was your race?
Oh, go ahead.
How was your race?
It wasn't too bad. To be honest, to start, my wet pace wasn't really that great. I was like second, but like the second or two. And then I saw the Alpine in front of me like made a mistake. And then that's when I took the lead. And then that's when we were like fighting a lot. And then like once I got into the dries, I just felt very good with the grip. And then yeah, I just pulled away and won.
Well, congratulations, Grid Jokes, for I believe it is your second win in Zoom Racing League. And I hope you can enjoy it with your team. Thank you, and congratulations.
Yep.
Alright, P3 finisher.
P2 on.
Yeah, here is Stelios Repas for Alpine P3 in Portugal. How are you feeling about it?
Hello?
Yep.
Hello, hi.
Hey.
How's your race?
How was the race?
Yeah, how'd that go?
Beautiful. I mean, kind of bittersweet because I didn't get the win, but super fun.
Yeah, so Grid Joke said that earlier on in the race you made a mistake, and that's how we got the lead. Do you want to talk us through what happened there? Because I didn't catch it on stream.
Sorry, say again?
You had a mistake in the race, which cost you the lead. What happened?
Oh, the first laps. Yeah, I just I almost lost it in the last corner because I applied more throttle than I was supposed to. So I managed to save it, but yeah, I lost the position. Which it wasn't that a big deal because I mean I took it back later, but my setup wasn't good for the dry. I didn't know that it's gonna be that much of a difference, but it was. I couldn't keep up with Grid Jokes and Mac. Great pace by them, also.
Yeah, well, congratulations on your P3 finish here, and have a good night, man.
Thank you. Thank you, you too.
Alright, I'll give Mac like a few seconds to decide whether he wants to interview or not. But if not, he doesn't get his chance. Alright, well, that is the end of Zoom Racing League for 2023. Holy cow, that got to me. But end of 2023 for Zoom Racing League. We will be back in 2 weeks' time at Monaco. So enjoy your Christmas breaks. Don't get too drunk, but enjoy the cookies. And open up your gifts. Have a happy new year. And we will see you next year. Goodbye, everyone.
And goodbye,
bye.
everyone, and see you in 2024 in Monaco.